Tonight we're going to do this interesting topic called the 31 planes of existence in the first session. And the second session we're going to go through some of the common Buddhist rituals and the chanting. So the first part will be 31 planes of existence. One of the most interesting topics in Buddhism. All the heavens, hells, human realms, animal realms, so on and so forth. So this is quite a common chart in most temples you can see. I think over there at the back also there's a chart similar to this chart at the corner there, which depicts all the different planes of existence in samsara. So at the bottom here we have all the unhappy realms, all the hell realms, animal realms, asura realms, peta realms, the hungry ghost realms, and then the human realms, and then all the various different heavenly planes of existence. But all this is considered within samsara. That means as long as you are born within any of these 31 planes of existence, you are still subject to death, you are still subject to rebirth. So that's why they put the Buddha here maybe outside of this table to show that the Buddha is outside of the 31 planes of existence because he has already attained Nibbana and he won't be reborn in any of these 31 planes of existence. So this is another chart, very detailed chart. I think if I'm not mistaken, this may be a Burmese chart. Because the Burmese, they go into very great detail into these kind of topics. So you can see all the various 31 planes broken up into different sections. So at the lowest section is the planes of misery, the states of loss. So these are 4 realms. The hell realms, which consists of supposedly the 8 major hells, and then a whole bunch of other minor hells. There's the animal realms, the peta realms or the ghosts and unhappy spirits, and then the asura or demon realms. So if you do a lot of bad karma, you don't do any good karma, then likely that you may be reborn in one of these 4 realms. So above that is the planes of sensual happiness, which means that any being that are born in these planes have a good deal of happiness, more happiness than sadness. So at the lowest is the human realm, and then next is the various heavenly realms, the realm of the 4 great kings, heaven of the 33, heaven of the Yama Devas, heaven of delight. This is called the Tusita heaven, whereby the Buddhas, before they come down to earth to attain enlightenment, they live in this Tusita heaven. And then above that, there's this Nimana Rati heaven, Para Nimitta Vasavati heaven also. So these are the various planes of sensual happiness, the heavenly existences. So apparently these are not too difficult to be reborn in. All you need to do is accumulate a lot of good karma, do less bad karma. So for most people who do a lot of good things, it's not difficult to be reborn in one of these planes of existence. In fact, this Tavatimsa is called the heaven of the 33. It's called the heaven of the 33 because according to the stories, it's named because of 33 people who did a lot of good deeds. They built bridges, they helped the people, they built roads, and then they were reborn into this heaven called the Tavatimsa heaven. So this is not too difficult to attain if you do a lot of good deeds and avoid bad deeds. Above this is the realms of form, the Brahma realms. They call it Devas or Brahmas. But for these realms, it is only for people who are able to have high attainments in meditation. So you must be able to reach jhana or high meditation levels before you are born into these realms of form. So and above that is the pure abodes. The pure abodes are reserved only for the anagamis or the non-returners. That means for the people who practice a lot, they will be reborn into this heaven for the last life, and then from there they will attain Nibbana. They won't come back to any other plane of existence. And above this is something called the formless realms. These are people who have reached very, very high attainments of meditation, which means that they have been able to meditate on infinite space, infinite consciousness, able to meditate on nothingness, able to meditate on neither perception nor non-perception. Actually, this refers more to the practice during the Buddha's time, because during the Buddha's time, the people were really very highly attained and they meditated to such extreme states. And beings who are born into these realms live for extremely, extremely, extremely long times. Okay, let's go into this. So people normally view these 31 realms of existence. You can view it either as a literal view or as a psychological view. So what do we mean by this? A literal view means that the 31 planes of existence are real places. They are actual places of existence. The psychological view means that these are meant to be as states of mind. That means the 31 planes of existence are not actual places of existence, but are simply states of mind. And finally, there's the composite view. So according to the composite view, actually this is my view, you won't find these three things in any other book or in any other teachings. So I actually came up with these three views of the 31 planes of existence, so hopefully it can be made more understandable. But anyway, so there's a literal view, there's a psychological view, and there's the composite view. So the composite view is that the 31 planes of existence are states of mind pertaining to the 31 planes. And these states of mind lead eventually to rebirth in one of these 31 planes of existence. So as you can see, this is a composite or a combination of the literal view and the psychological view. Okay, let's go into this a bit more deeper to explain. Firstly, we look at the 31 planes of existence again. So as I mentioned just now, we are the planes of misery. The lowest is the hell realms. So the hell realms are places of great suffering, many, many different hells according to the stories. But these also can be psychological. In Buddhism, heaven and hell can be a state of mind in our present life. Every moment can be an existence in a hell or in a heaven. For example, people who suffer a lot, who are always angry, a great deal of hatred, fighting all the time, you can say that they are living in a hell realm, even though they are in a human plane. So this is what we mean by a psychological view, that a person who is suffering not only in a hell realm, but an animal realm. For example, people who are just living like animals, they do nothing but just struggle for existence. They are living in an animal realm, even though they are in a human body. And also the hungry ghosts are people who have a great deal of craving and greed. I'm sure you know some people like that. No matter what they have, it's never enough. They want this, they want that. I think a good example of this is drug addicts. They can never get out of their existence because they are trapped for their craving for drugs. And then the example perhaps is gamblers. Always craving, always addicted to gambling and these kind of unwholesome things, unwholesome vices. So people like this, you can be said that they are hungry ghosts. People who want this, want that, never-ending cravings, never-ending thirst for this, for that. And then of course, the demon or asura realms. These are people, you can view them as people who crave for a great deal of power for the sake of power. I mean, in the world you can see these dictators, for example. Well, they want power just for the sake of control, not to benefit other people, but for their own ego, for their self-control, to control riches. So you can view this not only as real places, but as psychological states of mind. So these are the planes of misery. And above this is of course, the human realms, the planes of sensual happiness. All above the planes of misery, there's usually mostly happiness. For example, the Deva realms, the heavenly realms, a great deal of enjoyment, happiness. The human realm, you can have both happiness and a bit of unhappiness too. So it's not all the time happy, enjoyment. For the Deva realms, it's mostly enjoyment, mostly happiness. So also you can imagine the Deva realms. People in the human realm, you can also say that they are living in a heavenly existence. I mean, like they are living like gods. So who live like gods? You can see, for example, the movie stars, the sports stars, football stars like Wayne Rooney, all that. People treat them as gods. These people are basically almost worshipped like gods. So they are living mainly a life of enjoyment, a life of happiness. So these Deva realms can also be found in our human existence. And of course, if we practice a lot of loving kindness, a lot of compassion, we can also be considered to be in a heavenly realm, in a human plane of existence. So above this, there's the 16 form planes, so-called the beings of fine material. There's a realm called a realm of body only, no mind. This means that they are beings who have only a body. The reason is because in the Buddha's time, people were really into meditation. A great deal of attention was spent in meditation practice. So some of these meditators, they view the mind as something evil, as something no good. So they take the mind as the root of all evil. So their meditation is to actually eradicate the mind. Then eventually they are reborn in this so-called realm of body without a mind. And then they live like this for a long time until their karma expires, and then they are reborn again according to their past karma. The other planes in this fine material realm are the Brahma realms. So as I mentioned just now, you can only attain to the Brahma realms if you are able to succeed or able to attain very high states of meditation, jhana states. So again, if you are able to experience these states in the human realm, you can be said to be living already in the Brahma realm. Above this is the pure abodes for the non-returners, the anagamis. That means you practice to such a level that you are never coming back. So you can also attain this state in the human form. Not necessarily that you must be in this heavenly realm not to return. I mean, in the human realm, you can be a sotapan, a stream enterer, a sakadagami, a once returner. You can be an anagami, a non-returner. You can also be an arahant, an enlightened being. You will not get any more rebirth from then on. So we call this the plane of fine material because these beings, they're comprised of very, very fine material. Okay, for the lower realms, right, the planes of sensual happiness and the planes of misery, they are the 6 sense bases intact. That means you have your senses of your eyes, your hearing, your smell, your taste, your touch, and your mind. But in the planes of fine material, in the fine material realms, all these sense bases are intact, but not all of them are working. That means beings who are reborn in these fine material realms, only their senses of seeing, hearing, and the mind base is active. The rest, even though they have the base for the taste, for the smell, for the touch, but those are inactive. I guess because when they attain to such high meditation levels already, they don't have a craving for these sense bases. So above that, these are formless planes. That means these beings don't even have a physical body. They are comprised of mind only. As I mentioned just now, it's because they have attained to such high levels of meditation that when they are reborn into these states, they no longer need a body. They are only reborn with a mind. So there are various planes, these 4 planes they are reborn in, called a realm of infinite space, a realm of infinite consciousness, a realm of nothingness, and a realm of neither perception nor non-perception. This is a very profound term, which basically means that a person has reached such a high meditative state that you don't know whether he perceives or you don't know whether he doesn't perceive anything while he is in that deep meditative state. So basically these are the 31 planes of existence broken up into the planes of misery, the planes of sensual happiness comprising the human realm and the 6 deva or heavenly realms, and then the form planes and the formless planes. Okay, these are the planes of misery, planes of unhappiness. This is also a plane of unhappiness. Actually, even though it's in the heavenly realm, but it's in the plane of unhappiness because your mind is not intact. While you are in this realm, you only have a body. Also, this is considered not a fortunate realm because you are in a state of meditation and then you basically don't know anything or what's going on. You don't know what's happening. You are just deep in meditation and nothing else. So these 3 realms are actually unfortunate. Why? Because within these 3 realms, you have no access to the Dharma. You have no access to the Buddha's teachings. That's why we call these unfortunate realms. The demons, the hungry ghosts, the animals, the hell realms do not have access to the Buddha's teachings. They are unable to learn, they are unable to practice the Buddha's teachings. I mean, it's quite obvious, the planes of misery, you're too busy suffering. How can you ever practice or how can you ever have a chance to learn the Buddha's teachings? Again, the realm of body only, no mind. So no mind, how to learn the Buddha's teachings, how to practice the Buddha's teachings. The beings of mind only, the beings within these 4 realms, the beings within these 4 formless planes also unable to learn or practice the Buddha's teachings because they are just in a meditative state. In fact, in the Buddha's life story, one of the holy people that the Buddha's father invited to see the Buddha after he was born shed tears after he realized that the Buddha would become an enlightened being because he knew that he would be born in one of these planes of existence. That holy person knew that he will be reborn in a formless plane, and he was sad, he cried, because in that realm he will not be able to have access to the Buddha's teachings, he will not be able to learn the Buddha's teachings, he will not be able to practice the Buddha's teachings. So these are the unfortunate realms. Okay, these are the better realms, the fortunate realms. As I mentioned, the pure abodes for the non-returners, they are already practicing, they have already learned a lot. and they are well on their way to attain Nibbana, well on their way to attain enlightenment. Brahma realms also is a fortunate realm. You can learn, you can practice the Buddha's teachings in this realm. So in many of the suttas, Mangala Sutta for example, these beings, they come down to earth and they are able to ask the Buddha for teachings. One of the qualities of the Buddha is that he is a teacher of gods and men. So obviously he doesn't not only teach men, he doesn't only teach people in the human realm, he also teaches gods. And gods that are able to have access to the Buddha's teachings are these pure abodes for non-returners, the Brahma realms, and also the Deva realms. Some people also say, even within Dharma talks like that, you never know, because some of these Devas also like to listen. So if there are any Devas here, welcome, and hope you all also enjoy the talk. And may we all be well and happy. May you all be well and happy and benefit from these talks and attain peace and happiness. Okay, so these are the fortunate realms, the 6 Deva realms, the Brahma realms, and the pure abodes. Okay, you want to see how the heavenly realms look like? Chinese heavenly realm. Very nice, all the beautiful people, the fairies, living in such luxury. Another heavenly realm, see all the gods there. Okay, these are the Asian heavenly realms, Angmo heavenly realms, Western heavenly realms, all the angels. Also, another depiction of the heavens. So you can see all the angelic beings enjoying themselves in these rarefied states of existences. But actually all these are very old-fashioned. Who wants to go to these places? So boring, right? But actually nowadays, to me, the heavenly realms no longer like that anymore. Heavenly realms also can change, also can progress because of anicca. So in fact, the heavenly realms can also change. Not necessarily they are fixed all the time. Not necessarily like that all the time. Nowadays, it's likely to be like that. Modern. More likely to be like that. Enjoyment, I mean, who wants to be in all those old-fashioned planes, right? So this is enjoyment in the modern context. Also like that, beautiful villas, beautiful palaces. Actually, if you tell people the heavenly realms are like that, I guarantee you that a lot of people will behave themselves better, will go and do more good things and do less bad things. Because you tell them that's so nice, who don't want to go? Right? Okay, never mind. So anyway, we come back to the subject. So the human realm is the most important realm. This is the realm obviously where you can really learn and practice the Buddha's teachings, because it's not only always enjoyment, not only always happiness, there's also sadness, there's also sorrow, there's also suffering, there's also death, which comes to all of us in all these planes, not only the human realm, but in all existences. But because the beings who live in the heavenly realms live for so long, they live for aeons, millions of years, they don't really see anicca, they don't really see impermanence, they don't really see death as often or as frequently or as close up as all of us in the human realm. So in the human realm, it's easier for us to see dukkha, suffering. It's easier for us to see impermanence, anicca. It's also easier for us possibly to see anatta, non-self, because things are changing all the time. Not like in the heavenly realms where some of these beings, they live for aeons that they really do not understand, they do not realize things change eventually. So these are the realms which have access to the Buddha's teachings, the most important realms. So you can see the no good realms here, and these are the good realms. So okay, you know why some people tell you very good to print Dharma books, very good to spread the Dharma, very good, for example, to talk about the Dharma, very good to teach the Dharma. Why? The reason is because if you print Dharma books, you give Dharma talks, you talk about the Dharma, you share the Dharma with the intention of benefiting other people. This simply means that you have increased your chances in the future, in this life or in the future life, that other people will come and share the Dharma with you. You go and print books for the benefit of others, you go and talk about the Dharma for the benefit of others, you teach the Dharma for the benefit of others. Sure, eventually, other people will come and share the Dharma with you. They will share with you their books, they will share with you their teachings, they will share with you their experiences in the Dharma. But you can only have this, you can only enjoy this, you can only have the benefit of other beings sharing the Dharma with you in these realms. You can only be able to have other people share the Dharma with you in these fortunate realms. So which means that if you share the Dharma, you print Dharma books for the benefit of others, you are increasing your chances of being born in these fortunate realms. Simple as that. And you are decreasing your chances of being in a realm whereby you have no access to the Dharma. Because when you share the Dharma, other people must share back with you. So in order for them to share back with you, you must likely to be born in a realm where the Dharma is available. So you're going to one day go and teach also, share the Dharma. Then you increase your chances of a fortunate rebirth. Okay, human realm, the precious human realm. We always hear about this, the precious human realm. Why is it so precious? So not all human realms are precious rebirths. Firstly, to have a human life that is a precious rebirth, firstly you must be able to encounter the Dharma. But in the human realm, not all places on earth you can encounter the Dharma. There are many places on earth you have no chance to encounter the Dharma. For example, in some of these religious extremist countries, if you practice or learn anything except for their own religion, you will be taken away and maybe shot or punished or whatever the case may be. So in some countries, these people are really quite unfortunate. They really have no chance to encounter the Dharma. But you'll be surprised because I have people writing to me from places like Pakistan, even a librarian there, this guy ever wrote to me some time ago, sent me the Buddhist books he put in his library. So, you can never tell. Even in some of these places in America, some of these places are really very fundamentalist. If you reveal that you don't believe in their religion, if you reveal that maybe you're Buddhist or something, you'll be ostracized, you lose your job. I have people writing to me from there, telling me of these kind of experiences. But yet, these people are still able to come into contact with the Dharma. So it's good for them. I mean, nowadays it's quite good because there's internet, there's airmail, postage, people going all over the world to give Dharma talks. And these are the exceptional people. But on the other hand, you can see people in the Buddhist countries that don't want to know the Dharma, stay away from the Dharma. So there's no good either. That's what I'm saying. You must firstly be able to encounter the Dharma, and you must have an interest in the Dharma. People in Buddhist countries, Dharma all over the place, Dharma left, right, center, free books until you don't know what to do with them, surrounded by Buddhists, but yet you have no interest in the Dharma. And then on the other hand, people in all these foreign countries, far away, Africa, some places in the Middle East, in the middle of nowhere, by themselves, but yet they have an interest in the Dharma, and they are still able to encounter, and they are still able to learn and practice the Dharma. So these people, they do have a precious human rebirth. You must be able to encounter, you must have an interest in the Dharma, but you must still have the physical health and mental capacity to learn and practice the Dharma. Because no point you are able to get in touch with the Dharma, no point you have an interest in the Dharma, but physically and mentally you do not have the capacity to learn and practice the Dharma. But anyway, for these people, we of course do our best to try to help them. So these three things must be in place before you can consider your human life as a precious rebirth. And I think for each and all of you here, all of you definitely can say you have a precious human life. So very few people on earth have such a precious human life that you're able to encounter the Dharma, you have an interest in the Dharma, and that you are healthy, both physically and mentally enough to learn and practice the Dharma. So very few people on earth have a precious human life, so we should not waste it. Do your best, learn, practice, and also eventually share the Dharma. This is what I always try to tell people. A lot of people they learn, a lot of people they practice, but they don't really share. So these three things, if you can learn, you can practice, and then finally share, it is not only for the benefit of others, but it is also actually for your own long-term benefit. Because from my own experience, you can learn. But when you start to share, that is where you really, really learn. That is where you really benefit. Because you just come to a class, you just listen very easy. But I mean, for example, like myself, to do all this, it's a great deal of preparation. It takes a long time to do, even for this lesson. During the process of preparing this lesson, you actually learn far more than just sitting in. So one day, hopefully, some of you can go all out, not only to learn, not only to practice, but also to share the Dharma for the benefit of others and for yourself also. So the 31 planes of existence, they are also considered as the 6 realms of existence. So how do we reconcile the 31 planes of existence and the 6 realms of existence? So the 6 realms of existence basically are the hell realms, you can see from here. Hell realms, hungry ghost realms, animal realms, human realms, demon realms, and then finally the rest of it considered under the realm of the gods or the realm or the heavenly realms. So these are the 6 realms of existence taken from the 31 planes of existence. Okay, I'm sure you all know this chant, right? Om Mani Padme Hum. Who chant this? I'm sure some of you chant this, right? Brother here, chant. Okay, good. Do you know the meaning of this chant? Yeah, that's right. So it's good to know the meaning of anything you chant, not only for this Om Mani Padme Hum chant, but anything you chant is much more meaningful, much more powerful if you know actually what you're chanting. If you just chant without knowing the meaning, then it's just making a sound. It doesn't really benefit you that much. So for those of you who chant this Om Mani Padme Hum chant, there's a very deep meaning behind this. So let me explain. When you chant this, you're supposed to contemplate on certain aspects of practice. When you chant Om, it's supposed to remind you of pride. And when you're reminded of pride, you're supposed to reflect on the aspect of generosity. When you chant Ma, the syllable Ma, it's supposed to remind you of jealousy. The demons, as I mentioned just now, all these power-hungry people, a great deal of jealousy. That's why they become these asura or demons. It's supposed to remind you of jealousy, and you're supposed to contemplate on morality. For the human realm, the syllable is Ni. It means attachment. Because generally people in the human realm, they have a great deal of attachment to possessions, to their families, so on and so forth. So when you contemplate on attachment, you're supposed to also contemplate on patience. In fact, patience is one of the most difficult virtues to attain. But I tell you, if you can really have some patience, your life will be much, much, much better, much, much, much easier. And not only for your life, but the people around you, your family, your friends. If you have patience, everybody will benefit and have a happier life. Okay, the next syllable is Pat. This means ignorance. So this reflects the animal existence. Because as you know, animals, you are reborn as an animal, or you live as an animal primarily because of the root of ignorance. Because as an animal, I'm sure you can imagine, yes, some may be intelligent, but you can never be intelligent enough to learn or practice the Dharma. So when you contemplate on ignorance, you're supposed to also contemplate on diligence, to work hard, to strive hard, to improve yourself in your Dharma knowledge and also in your Dharma practice, your meditation. So hungry goes greed. So like I mentioned just now, the people who are greedy for this, greedy for that, unquenchable thirst, always unending craving, greed. So they are living as hungry ghosts in this human realm and also likely to be reborn as a hungry ghost in their next life if they do not try to improve themselves. So greed, you're supposed to practice renunciation. Renunciation doesn't mean necessarily you become a monk or a nun, leave your family, leave your home, but it means to renounce all your greed and attachment, all your cravings and desires. So renounce a little bit, you can be a far, far better person. And finally, hell realm. Hell realm means anger. As I said during the start of this talk, people born in the hell realms are generally full of anger, full of hatred, full of dislike. So when you chant this final syllable, Hum, you're supposed to contemplate, remind yourself of anger, and you practice wisdom. Because it's through wisdom that you can slowly eradicate all your hatred and aversion. So now you know the meaning of Om Mani Padme Hum. So next time you can ask your Tibetan Buddhist friends whether they know what this means or not. Okay, this is actually the 6 paramis, the 6 perfections in Mahayana: generosity, morality, patience, diligence, renunciation, and wisdom. In Theravada, there are 10 paramis, 10 perfections. But in any case, this is supposed to remind you to practice the 6 paramis, the 6 perfections. That's why in Tibetan Buddhism, you have these 6 perfections. To overcome the negative tendencies of pride, jealousy, attachment, ignorance, greed, anger, you practice generosity, morality, patience, diligence, renunciation, and wisdom. So all these are the 31 places of existence as we have seen. It can be literal, as I mentioned, these are actual places. It can be psychological. But I think it's likely to be a composite view. That means if you're always in anger in this life, most likely you will be reborn in the unfortunate realm, in the next life, a hell realm. If you have too many cravings, too much greed, too much attachment in this realm, in this human life, that may likely lead you to a rebirth in the realm of a hungry ghost. And then likewise, if you live like an animal in this life, fighting all the time, you just do nothing but eat and sleep, likely that state of mind will lead you to a rebirth as an animal. And also for the asura realms, the demon realms, too much power, too much desires, you may be reborn in an asura realm. And of course, if you practice generosity, you practice morality, you're already in the heavenly realm right now, right? But this will even lead you to likely a rebirth in the heavenly realm in your next life. And if you practice meditation to a high degree of attainment, in this life you enjoy it, in the next life you can also possibly be reborn in one of these Brahma realms. So these 31 planes of existence can be literal, can be psychological, but they are likely to be composite, a combination of both. Okay, now we come to a very important point. In Buddhism, we have all these gods all here, all within samsara. That means you be a god in Buddhism is really not a big deal, because you can enjoy that for a certain period of time, a very long period of time, but eventually when your karma run out, you still have to be reborn. So in Buddhism, being a god is really not a big deal. We can practice, all of us also can attain to a heavenly realm. So why people believe in God? Why people of many other beliefs, many other philosophies, many other religions, they have such a great emphasis in gods, but not in Buddhism? There are two psychological reasons why people believe in God. Number one is the reason for self-protection. Number two, the reason for self-preservation. Okay, what do we mean by this? People believe in God for self-protection. This means that we all naturally, this is a human tendency, a human characteristic. All of us, without exception, we all desire someone or something to protect us or to save us from trouble. Quite obvious, but I mean, for all of us, even Buddhists for that matter, any other religion, for most people, the reason why you go to temple is when you're in trouble, right? When you need help, you go to temple and then pray. But of course, from then on, it may lead you to other things, lah. But the point is that this is a natural human instinct. The desire for someone or something to protect us or to save us from trouble. That's why people believe in God. Pray to God, please help me. I'm sure you all can know what I mean. The other aspect of self-protection is the desire for someone or something to grant us happiness. Who doesn't want happiness? All of us want happiness. All of us want a good life, right? The easiest way to get a good life is pray to God. And then you can get a good life. Most of us, we desire someone or something to grant us happiness. Human instinct. That's why a lot of religions, they cannot let go of this father figure, a godly father figure. Because it's your father, I mean psychologically, within your family, your parents, your father, your mother, they are the ones who protect us or save us from trouble. They are the ones who give us happiness. When we want something, they are the ones who give us happiness. They give us shelter, they buy things for us when we're young, they buy toys for us. Even nowadays as adults, sometimes they may also likely to help us. So this is a psychological instinct of human beings, self-protection. One of the main reasons why people believe in God. The other is self-preservation. Very important psychological aspect. This means that all of us have a desire for eternal life and happiness. We all want eternal life and happiness. Who wants to die? Who wants to be unhappy? Every living being, well, every normal living being, will desire for eternal life and happiness. And who grants this eternal life and happiness? It's a belief in a God. When you believe in a God, you believe that that God will grant you this eternal life and happiness. What I'm saying by self-preservation is that you preserve yourself. You want to live forever. You want to preserve yourself. You want to preserve your happiness. That is why we desire for eternal life and happiness. So these are the two aspects why people believe in God. Self-protection and self-preservation. But why Buddhists don't need this? Why Buddhists can overcome this belief in God? Why Buddhists do not need to believe in God? Okay, let's go further into this. Now, we look at the Buddhist aspect of self-protection. Buddhists protect ourselves through avoiding evil. Very simple. You don't do bad things, you don't break the precepts, you don't go and harm people, you don't get drunk, you don't go and have affairs, you don't lie, you don't steal. Chances are, you won't get into trouble, right? So, you protect yourself through avoiding evil. Simple as that. Keep your precepts. Highly likely, you will stay out of trouble. But the point is that this is what we do to avoid evil, not to pray to God, not to ask for this, not to ask for that. But we protect ourselves actively by ourselves. We take responsibility within our own lives to protect ourselves by avoiding evil actions, by avoiding harming other beings. And then desire for someone or something to grant us happiness. What is the Buddhist aspect of this? The Buddhist aspect of this is we acquire our own happiness. We grant ourselves our own happiness by doing good, by performing generosity. by helping others, by practicing compassion, by practicing loving kindness, by practicing metta. Help others. This is how you attain your own happiness. And this is the real happiness. Not by having material possessions, not by having this expensive car, this expensive watch. Because after a while you get sick of it. Even for myself or for people. You get this car. Yes, for a few years you're happy. But within a few years, 3 years, 5 years, you'll be so sick of it you want another car. But the enduring happiness is through doing good. And this stays with you. Because not only it gives you happiness as you do it, you acquire positive karma. And when you acquire positive karma, this will lead to your own long-term happiness. More and more good things will come when you do good things. So for the aspects of self-protection, for Buddhists, we protect ourselves through avoiding evil, and we attain our happiness by doing good. Simple. We don't need to believe in God for all these things. We do it ourselves. And self-preservation. People desire eternal life and happiness, but we know that there's no such thing as eternal life and happiness. We know that even though you're born in a heavenly realm, you may live for a long time, but that will still come to an end. And your happiness also will still come to an end unless you really practice for your long term. After a while you can see that there's no such thing as eternal life and that there's no such thing as eternal happiness because things change. There's anicca, there's dukkha, there's anatta. Things always change. Unless you attain the eternal peace and happiness of Nibbana. And how do you attain that? Through purifying our minds. And what does purifying our minds mean? It's a practice of meditation. So through the practice of meditation, eventually we will see the truth of anicca, impermanence, dukkha, suffering, and anatta, non-self. So what is this? Avoid evil, do good, purify our minds. This is nothing more than the teaching of the Buddhas, all the Buddhas. Any questions? I finished this talk. Yes?
There are people who got no means or chance to learn the Dharma. Some people with low IQ, dumb person and all those things. How to help such people? And there are also people who doesn't learn the Dharma but provide excellent services. So those are people also considered to be good, but they don't practice or learn the Dharma.
Okay, so the brother here is asking that there are people who may not have the physical or mental capacity to learn the Dharma or practice the Dharma. That's your first question. The second question is people who do a lot of good things, but not necessarily, or they do not practice Buddhism, they do not believe in Buddhism. So for the first question, for the people who do not have the mental and physical capacity, I guess the only thing is that we can just try to do what we can. For those of us who are patient enough, we can just try to slowly explain to them. Sometimes it can work. It is up to us to try. That's all we can do. For these people, they may not be able to help themselves. Maybe it's a previous negative karma. But on the other hand, if we come and help them, then it may be that they have the good karma that someone come and help them to teach them the Dharma, even though they are in such an unfortunate circumstances. So not necessarily that these people have no chance. They do have a chance if people like you, people like us, make an effort to help them, make an effort to slowly teach them. So if they do learn something, they also benefit. They will also be of their benefit to this life and their future lives. So these people, yes, they may be unfortunate, but that doesn't mean that they'll be unfortunate forever. That doesn't mean that they'll be unfortunate throughout their life. That's what we can do. We try our best. I hope that answers your first part of the question. Okay, for the second part of the question, it's true many people of different religions, of different beliefs, they don't believe in Buddhism, they don't practice Buddhism, but they do a lot of good things. That's okay, right? That's still good. I mean, to be born in a heavenly realm, to be born in good conditions in your future, doesn't mean that you have to be a Buddhist. You can practice generosity and morality. That will still lead you to a heavenly rebirth. But like I said, even though you are reborn in a heavenly realm, when your good karma runs out, you still have to be reborn in a different realm again. So these people, yes, it is good to encourage them. People should do good. Because if they do bad things, they don't do any good things, it's even worse. Because then they'll be reborn in an unhappy realm. Then they have totally no chance to learn the Dharma. But if you do good things, good deeds, you'll still be reborn in a heavenly realm or a human realm, and you still are able to have the chance to learn and practice the Dharma. So that is still better than don't do good things at all. So still continue to do good things, and then maybe when the conditions are right in the future or in a future life, they may still have the chance to come into contact with the Dharma. I mean, for us, maybe we can do our part just slowly. We can tell them what we know, not necessarily in a Buddhist way, not necessarily to preach to them, but just to present it in such a way that is acceptable to people of other beliefs or other religions. If they can even acquire 1%, that's better than nothing. And then from the 1%, they learn from you, it can be 2%. From the 2%, it can be 5%. Then 5%, 10%. Then slowly it builds up. So maybe your little thing you tell them in this life, it will benefit them sometime down the road. So we should not give up, or we should still try in our own way, not to be pushy. Of course, we should not be pushy to convert people or to be irritating or whatever the case may be. But just to be patient and use our own wisdom, use our own experience to share what we know with these people. And hopefully one day they will come around and then be closer or be better in touch with the Dharma.